With the LA Times, I'm Lindsey Thiry, joined by USC beat reporter Gary Klein. We're on the campus of USC to preview USC's Week 2 matchup, their Pac-12 opener at Stanford. And Gary, we thought we were going to show up on Tuesday to a normal practice week at USC. As we've come to learn, it's anything but normal around here. Cody Kessler not out at practice this weekend. Leonard Williams and Damian Mama also going to be a bit questionable going into Saturday's game.
Right. You know, they thought with the Josh Shaw stuff behind them, it was going to be back to normal and come out for Tuesday practice, and Cody Kessler is not there. According to Steve Sarkisian, underwent a toe procedure for some kind of infection. He did come out on Wednesday, but they didn't throw him right back into practice. He eased back into it, took shared reps with Max Brown, and Thursday was a closed practice, so we don't know just how much Kessler did, but when we did get in there afterward, he was moving around, it seemed like, with no problems, was in good spirits, did not have a knee brace on. So he remains on track to play against Stanford, and we'll see what happens.
Leonard Williams and Damian Mama both went down during Tuesday's practice, and Tuesday's practice actually ended early. The clock usually hits 0, and then they go for a little bit longer, but Sarkisian decided to blow the horns without many players laying on the field.
Right. Williams did not practice on Wednesday. Again, today he was in his gear. He went into practice with his helmet. My guess is that he probably didn't do too much because they want to have him ready for Saturday. Damian Mama, I think that situation is a little bit more fluid. He looked better, walking around than he has, but it looks like Vianney Talamaavo will be playing, if not starting against Stanford, he'll be playing a lot.
Let's get into the game. Offense, USC, they've been held to under 30 rushing yards the past 2 times they've played the Cardinal. What do you think is going to be the key for them when they get up there to get their run game going?
Well, Buck Allen and Justin Davis both ran the ball pretty well against Fresno State. This is an entirely different kind of situation, I think, with Stanford. Even though they've lost a lot of their veteran defensive players from last season, they have a lot of guys that have played. This is still an experienced, I think, front 4, front 7. So USC is going to have a difficult time, but I think Sarkisian is good. They have to run the ball. They have to try and do that, and they're hoping that they're going to be a little bit more effective. I think some of the shuffling on the line is going to play into things, but we'll see if USC shows some things that they didn't show against Fresno State.
And USC's defense might be preparing for more from Stanford this season than they have in the past. Stanford's going to be able to run the ball. They'll be able to throw the ball, also to some big targets. Now, with Leonard Williams, a game-time decision, how does that affect USC's defensive line, and do you think that kind of trickles back since he is one of the leaders on the defense?
Well, I don't think I'd be shocked if Leonard Williams doesn't play in this game. So
but Leonard Williams isn't going to play through everything?
No, you go back a year ago, Leonard Williams was having a shoulder issue the week before the Stanford game. He didn't play against Cal, and then he came back and he played very well against Stanford. So he'll be in the lineup. He will be on the field. I'd be shocked again if he isn't. But I think the key for USC is going to be how guys like Delvon Simmons and Claude Pallone play. They played their first games for USC last week. Sarkisian said they flashed some good things, but he really wants to see more consistent effort and also, just getting lined up correctly and doing what they're supposed to do. So it's not just Leonard Williams, even though David Shaw has been very vocal this week talking about how much of an impact player he is. They're going to need more than him, and they're going to need Antoine Woods and their other defensive linemen also to play very well.
And finally, let's take a look at the coaches matchup here with the Pac-12 opener, Stanford and USC. Now, Steve Sarkisian, formerly at Washington last season, had some words for Stanford because he thought they were slowing the game down on purpose with his up-tempo offense with some injuries that were slow to get up. David Shaw going and denying those claims, obviously. This year they say it's all done, but do you think it's all done? These are 2 pretty competitive guys.
Well, I think that issue from last year is in the past, but this is a USC team that ran 105 plays in its opener. They're going to want to run a lot more, or they're going to want to continue to pile up numbers like that. They're obviously not going to run that many against a Stanford team that huddles. But as you mentioned, the competitive coaches, this is become a great rivalry with things off the field going back to Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh. So from a writing standpoint, we love drama.
We might have something, right?
We love drama. If something flares, that would be good for the rivalry.
All right, I think you just gave our readers a reason to email us. Be sure to keep it on the LA Times and the USC Now blog for all the latest from the USC Stanford game. With Gary Klein, I'm Lindsey Thiry for the LA Times.